for our March webinar. And in the webinar, I will not be talking a lot, and I have here an expert on AI, Aruna. So she will be actually doing a lot of talking. She has been working on AI with AI for, I don't know, at least I know 5-6 years or more. She will tell more about that. And she has done a lot of work on Copilots in last couple of years. So she is going to share that, and we at RefineM are now offering training and project work using Copilot, Office 365, Azure, and all that. She will provide more information. So without wasting any time, you can skip this slide, Aruna, and proceed.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, NK. Hi, everyone. Very good morning to all of you. Myself, Aruna, and as NK mentioned, right? So myself and my team, we had been working into AI and specifically into the Gen AI area, and then the Copilot and different other platforms from the AI for last few years. Okay, so we have been like developing our expertise in the kind of like in-house projects, in-house applications, as well as we also explore on the different AI products and different AI solutions that are being provided by different platforms, like for example, Microsoft, Google, Anthropic, Cloud. So this is how we are like we measure and we build our expertise. Okay, so today what we are going to cover is what Microsoft offers at a very primary and a very basic level. Okay, so that is Microsoft 365 Copilot. So I would be covering how this is going to work and all. But before that, I would like to just to set the context, okay? In case for those who are not familiar with Copilot of Microsoft, okay? Let me give a reference to ChatGPT. So I'm sure that almost all of you must have used the ChatGPT. So all of these AI assistant, the generative AI assistant, it is started with OpenAI's ChatGPT, right? So the way you access ChatGPT, you go there, you ask your questions, you get your content and everything generated. So similar to that, Microsoft has released its own assistant. Okay, so that can be accessed primarily over web. That is known as the Copilot Web. Okay, similar to ChatGPT. But moving on from there, being Microsoft and being a product of Microsoft, Copilot offers a lot other things. Okay, so I would be covering that in my webinar today. So before we go ahead, a quick check on like from all of you, like in case if you guys have used Copilot already, can I know like what takes up most of your time during a typical work day? So for I mean, you can just choose to reply over chat. Let me just have a quick look at in case if you guys are responding over there.
Yeah, I'm seeing that, Aruna.
Mhm.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you that
okay.
you can go
Yeah.
back to your
Mhm.
emails, meetings, emails. So far, we got a few answers here. Uh, Meetings, email, and meetings. So the main thread is email and meetings so far.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
so let's wait for another 15 seconds. Meeting, summarizing, identifying key points, action
Mhm.
items. So basically, emails and meetings. That's the
Mhm.
key here. So I will help you here, Aruna.
Sure, sure. Thanks, NK.
Okay,
Thanks for that.
yeah, very good. Can move to the next one. Okay.
So
Have you
now moving
personally?
ahead,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead, Aruna.
Yeah, so have you, I mean, for all of you, like, have you guys used personally Microsoft 365 Copilot in either in a web form or any of your working apps, like, for example, your Word or PowerPoint and all? So, I mean, maybe you can choose, like, if any of the apps that you have used on.
Teams.
Mhm.
No.
Okay.
Outlook, Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, it's a kind of a mixed response,
Mhm.
Aruna.
Yeah,
Some
okay.
are saying no, some are saying browser, some are saying Excel,
Mm-hmm.
PowerPoint. So it's a mix, mixed kind of thing.
Okay, perfect. So let's move on to the third one. Okay. So for those who have actually used, okay, it's mainly for them, like how confident are you in writing the effective prompt, or how effective you are in when it comes to conversing with Copilot? Do you get your answers properly in one go, or you have to try many goes kind of thing?
Somewhat not the first go, have not used Copilot.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat fairly confident, somewhat to very confident, have to refine the outcome.
Okay.
It's a process. Okay. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
saying they go through this.
Mm-hmm.
Is a process. So I think once again here you have a wide spectrum of
Understand.
some people have not used it, some people are moderate, some
Okay.
a couple of people are saying that they are doing well on that, um, but many majority is saying they have not used it, or they have to refine the outcome, or that kind of a intermediate level.
Okay. So perfect. I mean, I can take it up from here. So thanks everyone for giving me that response. Okay. So let me start it now. Okay. What is Copilot all about? So as I said, Copilot is one of the AI assistant being provided by Microsoft. Okay. So I was saying that as compared to ChatGPT or the Gemini from Google, one of the advantage of Copilot is because it is released from Microsoft. Okay, and most of us, like whatever work we do on day-to-day basis, right, it normally deals with Outlook, it deals with Excel, Word, which are all nothing but given the Microsoft apps only or Microsoft products only. So what Microsoft has done is, because all of these are Microsoft products, it has given a free access of Copilot over many of these apps. Okay, like for example, if you are able to see this screen, so this is actually exactly like ChatGPT. Okay, I have opened Copilot over web. Okay, and similar to ChatGPT, I can just click on new chat and I can start conversing with over here. The advantage of Copilot here is because it is a Microsoft product, it gets integrated with all your work data. So when I say work data, it means what? Whatever work you have been doing, okay, like your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, your OneDrive, your SharePoint. So all of these apps actually, okay, I can just show you from here, whatever data you have, okay, within the Microsoft inbuilt security, all of these data, you are able to use it. So unlike ChatGPT, you don't have to be going here and uploading your file, or you have to worry about how's the security will be taken care of my that confidential file. So you can just say over here, you can just say find a file, and then it will give you the answer, whether your data is in SharePoint or it is in somewhere on your local machine or your, so it is able to coordinate with all the apps and give you the answer. So that is one benefit of the Copilot. Okay, so this is just to start with. So normally, how I mean normally tell the end users is, okay, this is a free tool given by Microsoft. So if you see, I have logged into Edge and I have logged in through my personal account. But when it comes to business and all, where you actually need to deal with a lot of your actual work related data, I always suggest that go for a paid version of it. Okay, there are different plans. I have included that slide in my deck. So later on, you can find it in appendix, or you can find about different plans. So if you go here, you see it is logged in through my professional email ID, right? So I have a paid version of it, which helps me in doing a lot of other things. Okay, so let's start from here. So this is just to let you know that how I come, or to set a context, like how ChatGPT works, similar to Copilot works, and from there we see how we can integrate it with other products. Okay, so over here, okay, starting from here, so what we would be covering, as I said, let us understand a bit in detail about the Copilot ecosystem. Okay, and then we'll see what is the importance for business leaders, what are the different components, how we can use this Copilot under different apps, as I mentioned. And also there was one question about like how well you are able to talk to Copilot, right? We will see a bit of the prompt engineering, and then I will be covering a little bit on the Copilot Studio, which is the next level of Copilot, basically. Okay, and then we'll walk over some of the best practices and Q&A. Okay, okay, so that's good. So now, when as I said, okay, Copilot. is actually similar to ChatGPT, your AI powered work assistant. Okay, it directly it is built directly into the tools that Microsoft provides. Okay, all of your workday related tools. What all it can help you with? A lot of things. Okay, so for example, it can understand and summarize your information, as one of you said. Okay, it can create new content, new documents, new presentations, new emails. It can analyze and generate. It can analyze your data and generate insights from there. It can automate a lot of your work. It can also help you make better decision. Okay, and then it also is like, you're talking in a natural language. You don't have to write your queries. You don't have to be very professional in talking. So the way you ask your colleague a question, you can just ask a question similarly to Copilot, and it would be able to answer you from there. Okay, moving on to the ecosystem. So actually, there are three layers when we talk about Microsoft Copilot ecosystem. Okay, but we would be primarily focusing on the first one, that is for the end users, or mainly we call it as business users or power users, kind of. Okay, those people who are normally from the pure, who have to be looking into the pure business decisioning part. Okay, they are also known as like the end users. The second part of the Copilot Studio, it mainly goes for the makers and the business designers. So what does maker and the business designer they mean is for those people who are actually business users, but they also understand how to create workflows or a little bit play flavor of the programming. So if we see, the first part is totally no code. There is no programming needed. There is no knowledge of workflow, how to be dragging, dropping, and all those things needed. But when it comes to the second part, a little bit of the programming starts from here. Okay. And the third and the most extensive one is where you need a proper programming, where you have to be creating your apps and all, and then deploying over one of the cloud solutions and all. So that is mainly when the business users they work with the development team and get their solutions done. Okay. So for today's one, we would be focusing on Microsoft Copilot. Now, as I mentioned earlier, like for some of the examples, like how the Copilot can help you. Okay, so like for example, you have a meeting yesterday for some of the defect logs. You want to summarize it into 5 bullet point, or you have a root cause analysis. You know this the root cause, but you cannot draft, or you will take 10 minutes to draft. You can get the whole thing done within a minute by using this. Okay, or you can convert your supplier invoice. Okay, a CSV file which has got a lot of messy data, into a clean table, and you can also find out all what all problems are there, what all anomalies are there from there. You can generate a risk summary for your production change request. Like for example, you can create a IT proposal, or you can just ask them to include all the risk factors in there, or you can just create a slide, a five slide deck on the EV battery health monitoring. So these are some of the examples through which actually you can coordinate with your Copilot. Okay. So moving on from here, now why should business users, they should be taking care of this part. Okay. So those who have used ChatGPT or even like Copilot, they would be knowing for sure that when we start using this AI assistant, they have been actually very, very helpful and very beneficial. Like in the sense, for the executive teams, there is actually so much of information always, right? So if somebody can help them to reduce this workload or organize this data or get better decision from this data, it is always helpful. It increases your efficiency, it increases your productivity, right? Okay, then also they are always in a hurry, or they always in a need of getting faster data insights to make their better decisions. Also, Copilot, we will see maybe in this webinar or maybe next, it can also help to automate a lot of routine work. Okay, so and also enhances clarity. So let's say for example, if a customer has sent me some email, and if I'm not very well aware of that area, if I want to understand, so yeah, I can always go back to Copilot and ask about the clarity on that. Then comes natural language. So using my natural language, I can actually ask the Copilot to create the action items or the summaries or the insights from there. So overall, looking at some of these points, it is actually going to help not only the business executive teams, but the overall anybody who is working on this. Okay. Okay, so now from here, what we will be doing is we will actually go into the demo of the Copilot. Okay, what I would be covering is through these 5 apps. Okay, so different actions we will take through different app, and we see how the Copilot works. Okay, or how the Copilot helps. So let's start with Word. Give me one moment. Yeah. So here is my Word document. One important thing to be taken care is, as I said, again, I'm using the subscribe plan of Copilot, right? For better performance. So one thing that has to be taken care is when you're logging in, you would have to confirm that you have signed in through that ID, because as you see, I have many other IDs over here, right? So I'm logging in. I have to ensure that I'm logging in through my subscribe ID. Okay. And then over here, you can actually see a Copilot icon. So for those who are very new to that, you need to take care of this, that this icon appears. Okay. So that it will help you in building your things. Okay. Now, let's say I have to create an IT proposal, okay, for an AI project, right? And then I have a choice, either I can take a previous proposal and then work on that, or I build the whole proposal altogether. Okay. So let's see how Copilot helps us here. Okay. So I can just type in natural language over here. Okay. I need create an IT proposal for an AI project. Okay. Leveraging on MS Copilot Studio technology. Okay. The budget should be between, let's say, 300 K to 400K USD. Okay. Also, also do mention about, sorry, also do mention about the risk management and governance. Okay. So I'm just giving this much of information in my natural language to Copilot, and it will generate me. So it will take a while to generate because it is working on it. Okay. So if you see, okay, it has started generating. So what it has done is, in a very like professional way, it has given you the whole template of it. It has taken care of whatever I have asked. Okay, timeline, conclusion. Before that, I asked for the risk management, governance. So all of those things. It has also taken care of the budget part, right? So you can see that how this has actually converted or given you a good kind of like decent proposal where actually you can further work on it. So let's say if I like it, I can just say keep it. If I do not like, I want to change it, totally scrap it, I can delete it. Or I want to make it a bit different. Okay. Or so I can make it more formal, I can make it more casual, whatever. I mean, I want it to be changes to be done. So let's say I want it to be, I forgot about putting the technical specifications here, right? So let me say that, okay, can you please include the technical specification section in this. Okay, so I just ask, okay, can you revise it and put a technical specification section? So if you see, it will go back, it will regenerate it, and it will put a proper technical specification. So which is telling me like AI models to be used, security, compliance, integration, like this. So this is one very simpler way of using the Copilot, right? So this is like a creation of a new document. In case if I already have an existing document, okay, and it's a, let's say like a 30 pages long proposal that I have gotten, okay, and I do not have the time to read it, and then I just want a summary of it. Let's say this proposal has been given to me, right? So I can say create a summary of this proposal, right? So I just have to say that give me a summary of this proposal. It will give me a summary like for any other document, right? It will just give me a summary of it. Okay. Done. While it is generating, okay, let me open this part. Okay, so once I open this, there will be a side window that will be opening up over here. Okay, so so one way is I can write over here. The other way is actually I can ask questions over here. So do remember that this Copilot icon you would be seeing in all other apps as well. So Excel also, PowerPoint also, you would be seeing all this, right? So if you see, the Copilot is suggesting, okay, do you want me to do some other actions from here? Like I can add a technical, it is asking me, do you want me to build a full technical documentation using a specification, either from this file, or let's say you have any other file. So if I click on this, it will ask me to upload the file. So I am just explaining you in short, like what all Copilot can do. There is a lot of things that it can actually do from here, right? So when we say slash and I type, it can actually take me to SharePoint. It can take me to my Outlook, wherever you want to go. It can just go over there and find the details for me. Okay. So yeah, so let me move from here. Okay. And I do not want it to create that, but let me, I can also do one thing. Okay. Send this proposal. Sorry. Let me say like this. Okay. Email this proposal. I can directly send you my email from here to me at, I just put my email ID. Even if I don't put my email ID, if I'm in the same domain, it will be able to fetch my email ID and email it to me. Okay. So some of the things, okay, so it is not able to do that. So maybe some reason, okay, then I can just say I can always give feedback. It is very important for us to give feedback. If the Copilot does good thing, then ideally we should be giving feedback. If not, then also we should be giving feedback that so that it helps Microsoft team to improve on it. Okay. Okay, fine. So that is all about Copilot Studio. Sorry, Copilot, Microsoft Copilot in Word. Okay. Moving on from here, let's go to the next one, that is Excel. Okay, so I am here, and if you see that this is my data that I prepared for today's webinar. Okay, so this is all about retail. Okay, and looking at this data, I see that, okay, fine, I do not know what to do this with this data. If I have to gather some insight, I need to take a look at it, right? It will take me some time. So I go to Copilot. Okay, I can actually ask Copilot. So if you see this northeast north, I can ask Copilot to clean up all these things. I can ask Copilot to find the duplicate. So let me ask if it works. Okay, can you find me the count of duplicate records? Okay, and I can just say that duplicate means records having similar value for all the columns. So if you see why I'm giving this specification is, I can just say find the duplicate records. It will still understand. But I want to be very specific in my requirement when I'm talking to Copilot, right? I want it to be my prompt engineering, okay, my talking to be very clear. So that is why I'm specifying that how do I consider something to be duplicate is all the columns should be having duplicate values. Okay. So that's how now let's see if this particular version is able to do that or not. Okay. Meanwhile, you can take this whole data, you can generate all the data insights from here, and I would be showing you that as well from my other data sheet that I have. So meanwhile, it is generating. Let us see. Let's give it up 2 minutes. Otherwise, we'll move over to the second one. Okay, let it generate. Let us go to the second sheet that I have. Give me a moment. Yeah. So okay. Sorry, not this one. Just give me a moment. There are a few Excel sheets actually I prepared for. Yeah. So let me open up a new Excel. Okay. So what I wanted to show you all is if I'm in a new Excel. Okay. I open here. I should be seeing this. Okay. If I'm not logged in through my Copilot, my uh, paid version, I ideally will not be able to see that. So let's say I come here. Okay. Now this is a new data that I just now copied in front of you, right? And I open Copilot. Now this data is again very new to me. I do not know what is there. So let me ask, okay, Copilot. Okay, it is asking me to save first. Okay, so yeah, so normally Copilot would ask you to save it first before they are able to um, do something, some action items on that. So let me have a quick saving of this. Meanwhile, please feel free to ask any questions if you have. Yeah. So yeah. Now let us edit. Okay, so let us see. Okay, now I do not know. Okay, what all this data, what this data is all about, and what I can understand about business from here, right? So I'm asking. I also do not know what to ask, right? Because I'm not aware of what the data is. So let me say, okay, get me top three data insights from this data. Okay, I just ask simple. Hopefully it will work. In case if it doesn't work due to any reason, I do have a backup for you guys to see how the data insight would be generated. Okay. So let's give it a 2 minutes. So again, meanwhile it is generating again similar to Word. Actually, you should be able to do a lot of other things. Like I mentioned, you should be able to pull in some other file and you can ask it to reference or compare those files. You can actually connect to your SharePoint from here. You can send this whole data file to email it to me. So all of these things can be done from here. Okay. So still it is taking time. Okay. So if you see it is taking time, it is generating your data inside. Okay. So how it is doing is it generated, it already copied it into a new sheet. So if you see, it is telling me the first one, yeah, because it is still generating. So I'm at only at step number 1. Okay, so it's saying what is my metric. So the first insight it generated is significant budget versus actual performance gap. So it did find in my data what is the gap. So it actually did all those calculation, gave it to me. Okay, the second insight it thought, okay, that the important could be how NCR region dominates portfolio but shows highest gap. Okay, so even though something was good, something was not good in that data, right? So it is trying to show me that. So, and it is also trying to, if you see here, it is also trying to fix the formatting issue. So if there, I mean, my data, which is all about new numbers and all, if there are some formatting issues, it is trying to fix all those and then moving ahead, right? So yeah. So if you see all those analysis that I would have taken few hours to do, Copilot has done it for me, and it has brought me all of this data, as well as it has also created executive summary for me, right? Now let's look forward. Okay, if it works, let me show you like this. Okay, can you generate the graphs for this insights? Okay, I'm asking it to generate the graphs. Okay, so I can just say continue without saving, and then let's see what kind of graph does it generate. Okay, from there, actually what like you generate your pivots and all, right? So if you know exactly what kind of pivot you want, you just tell the Copilot generate this pivot for me. If you do not know, you just ask like what all top pivots can be generated. It should be then the Copilot should be able to generate that part as well, right? So it is saying, let me fix the chart creation by using some contiguous ranges, right? So give us a few minutes, let's see. So meanwhile, feel free to post your questions if any, and then maybe and can Philip can take, or maybe I can take at the end of the webinar.
So, Aruna, there is a
Yeah.
question about Gemini. I think you can answer that. So it is saying you are logged into Copilot first and then accessing the various tools within
Mm-hmm.
the Copilot domain. We are a
Mm-hmm.
Google shop, so have Gemini, but I imagine the features are similar. Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah. I will. I do have something to tell over there. Okay. So let us complete this, and then I will take up
Okay.
that question and okay,
So,
because
so
I need
Michelle,
to explain.
I will remind Aruna after she finishes her presentation.
Because I need to explain in detail
Yeah, yeah,
about
sure.
that. Okay.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see, right, so all the insights that were generated, that were given in the data format to me, when I asked Copilot to generate the graphs for me, it generated all those graphs for me. So whatever Copilot thought is the best graph to choose, okay, for that particular kind of data, it actually gave me all those visualization already. So you can imagine that 1 hour of my work has been reduced to 5 to 10 minutes. And then what I need to do is just to go ahead and validate that part. Okay. Even the validation can be taken care by the Copilot. But we would be skipping that for today's session. Okay. So this is all about how you can use the Copilot into Excel. So before I move on to my third one, let me answer Michelle's question. Okay. So Michelle, you are right in saying that. I hope I got the name correct. Yeah. So I hope you are right in saying that features are same. Okay. The only difference is, okay, because your Copilot is already integrated with your work data, you are able to open Copilot from here. So this whole file, you don't have to go back and upload to Gemini. You can just directly do your operations here. Okay. So let me see if I can show you something just to clarify. Give me one moment. Yeah. So let me see if I can open my Gemini from here. I think I know. Um, Sorry, yeah, I need to be finding my exact Gemini part. If I can, then I would like to show you the exact difference about that. Let me see if I can open my Gemini. So if I open my Gemini here, right? Okay, so I believe this is how you might be using your Gemini. Okay, so here I can do the same operation. So the features would be same. The difference is all those files I have to be uploading over here. Now, when you are uploading your file in any of these platforms, okay, normally most of the organizations, they do have their security concerns, right? Because it is outside your organization environment. But when you talk about Microsoft, okay, when I go here and upload,
So Aruna,
mhm.
one thing, the if somebody is a Google shop, they will have a similar environment like you have Microsoft Office 365. They will have Google Docs, Google
Yeah.
Sheet, and all those
Yeah.
kind of things. So they will have
Yes.
that environment.
Yeah.
So
So that is known
it's,
as Google Workspace NK. So
yeah, so
normally,
is Gemini integrated into Google Workspace?
yeah, they can use Gemini over there. So I can actually
Okay.
quickly show you, though this is not part of the session, but just give me one moment. Yeah, let me find my thing. And just to cover that part, okay, give me one minute.
Can we come back to it later? Let's finish your
Yeah,
planned thing. Yeah, let's
sure,
finish
sure.
your
Let
planned
me,
thing. Then, if we have
okay,
time, we'll cover it later.
okay, fine. So let us do that as well. So I will come back to that part. Okay. Now let's move from here. So we covered we covered the Microsoft Copilot in our Excel, right? So moving from here, okay, let's go back to PowerPoint. Okay. So when I start a PowerPoint, okay, sorry, my screen is here. Okay, we still have to cover PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams, right? So now let us see how it works in PowerPoint. Once I open this, okay, so I'm opening a new one, okay? So when I open again, there are different ways of accessing Copilot because I'm logged in through my subscribed version. It is asking me either I can create directly from here a new presentation, okay, or I can just take a blank presentation. When I go over here, I would be actually when once I switch over to my proper subscribed login, okay, I would see my Copilot icon here. And then I would see there is a small thing over here. Okay. So now let's say, I mean, I won't be creating because it takes a lot of time, but I can just say create a presentation. Okay. So I can just say create a presentation. Okay. I need to conduct a webinar. Okay. On MS Copilot for my business users. Okay, give me, I'm being very specific. I only want the slide numbers to be, give me 10 to 15 slides, okay, on the same. Okay, that's it. So once I fire this command, okay, there will be a document generated. Okay, so let me show that document because as I said, I won't be generating it now. It will take time. So I have already created for you all. Okay, so if you see this generated presentation too, okay, this is exactly what Copilot generated for me, right? So if I see this, I put this in the presentation mode. So using the same command, okay, this is what is generated by Copilot within 2 or 3 minutes. So if you see, it is covering the agenda, it is covering the power of Copilot 365. It is telling me all the details, whatever I'm going to cover. So like this. So for any topic that you have, okay, if you want to create a presentation like that, you can just go ahead and create. In between, if I need to insert any other slide, I need to modify, I need to summarize, all of those things can be done. Also, because we are talking about the presentation, let me go back to my Excel, right? If over here, now everything is good. I have validated the data. We are good here. Okay. I want to create a presentation for the same to be shown to my team, right? I can actually just go ahead and say here, okay, create a PowerPoint presentation, okay, in this, okay, uh, having having two slides, having two slides for the data here, right? So once I say that, it will actually be helping me give the content or create the content for me to be able to create those PowerPoint or to create that particular deck. Okay. So this is how. So let us see. It will come back and it will create that deck as well. So this is how you can actually leverage on the Copilot. So it couldn't create, okay, maybe it is related over here. Okay, but it is saying you can just take this. It is giving. So if it is not able to create, it will also tell you that it can create. It can how you can create that. Okay. Okay, fine. Moving from here, okay, let's move on to the third part, right? So where we were actually we were in this slide, right? Okay, give me a moment. Yeah, here. So now let's go to Outlook and Teams. Okay. So now these two areas, they are very much related because most of our the meetings and all that are normally scheduled over Teams. So you can actually see how these gets integrated. Okay. So when I move to my Outlook here, okay, you can see that this is also one of the app that Copilot supports, right? Okay. So this is my Outlook here. Okay. Now when I come here, you can see this Copilot icon already over here, right? okay, and at the on the left hand side as well. So different versions of Outlook, you would be able to see the icon at different places. I mean, just to let you know, like how you can find. Now, when I come over here, it is already suggesting me some of the things that are either I already would have found out earlier, look for it earlier, or it is suggesting me some of the things that it can find now. Also, if you see here, there are two ways, there are two tabs that you see here. One is work, one is web. So when I say work, right, it actually gives me everything that is related to my work data. Okay, whatever is there, as I said, in all of my apps, it is giving me data from there. But at the same time, while being in this app, I quickly need some information. Let's say I have to draft an email, which is something related to the stock price, and I need some information quickly. So I can just go over here to web, get that information, come back to my work, and then get that, incorporate that information here and carry on from here. Okay. Okay. Now let's say, I think from the executive level, okay, where there are a lot of 100 emails. Unfortunately, I do not have that many emails, okay. But if I have a lot of 100 emails where I want to see what is the most important, okay, it's giving me a prompt already, suggesting me. So I can just say what matters most in my inbox today. Okay, so let us see. Okay, so it is saying scan my inbox. Automatically, it is building that kind of prompting or that kind of conversation on behalf of me, which actually, if I just pass it to Copilot, it will go through all of my unread emails or my read emails as well. And it will get me that particular information where I need to focus more. Okay. So it says it is giving me two results, okay, because it can only find only few of the emails. Okay, so it is saying that okay, summarizing with this. Okay, so let's see. So it says total emails to high significant emails to no additional emails were received. Okay, fine. Okay, now I can just say this one. Okay, is there? Okay, let me find. Okay, is
So
there?
Aruna,
Yeah.
one thing. There were a lot of
Yeah.
people who said they use email a lot of time, and that's
Mm-hmm.
true. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that many people face, particularly the project managers and senior level people, that there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of emails that come, right?
Yes.
So kind of
Yeah.
email overburden. Is it
Mm-hmm.
possible that this Copilot can categorize them into different categories like urgent or moderate or you are copied on this or not urgent, so they can
Yes.
focus
Mm-hmm.
on the things that they need to respond first without going through all the uh, 50,
Mm-hmm.
60, 100 emails?
Yes. Yes.
And
It
can
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 do.
that be
Mhm.
running all through
Mhm.
without asking again and again? Can that be running like an agent, uh,
Yes.
which keeps doing that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, okay,
Okay.
let me take this question
Yeah.
into
Okay.
parts. Okay. So, the first thing, let's say I have 100 emails. Okay. And I want to know what are the top 10 high priority emails. Okay. Or related to either my meetings today or based on customer. Because
Mhm.
also what happens is the Copilot, the engine that it runs on the semantics basis. Okay. So, not only that, it also does the sentiment analysis. Okay. At the back end.
Very good.
So, let's say, for example, if you have an email from customer where there is some kind of complaint or the customer is not happy and all, it would be categorizing it as urgent, so
Mhm.
that kind of categorization is possible. So when let's say, for example, if I ask a question here, okay, unfortunately my email will my Outlook will not have that kind of categorization. But if I pass a command like this or a question like this, okay, categorize my emails, okay, my 100 emails, okay, into urgent and medium urgent, right, like that. So
Mm.
it will divide those emails and it will segregate into two sections, and then it will give me what are my urgent emails, what are my medium urgent emails, like that. Okay, not only that, okay, if I pass another command to it. Let's say, for example, I say, okay, send me the summary of of the urgent emails, right? So it will quickly send me
Mm.
the summary of those 10 urgent emails to me, so that I know what all I need to take care, right? Okay.
Mm.
Also, let's say, for example, you asked me about the other one, the like if any specific, right, which I'm marked into, or I'm marked into two, right? Like not only CC but marked into two. So I can just say, send me give me the list of emails, okay, from a specific person. Let's say, for example, I want some emails from Mayur. Okay, I'm looking for some emails from Mayur. Okay, list of emails. Okay, from Mayur. So I know that this is one of my customer from where I'm expecting some email, but I difficult for me to look into those 100 emails. So I can just ask the question like this. Copilot would still be able to find what is the recent email, what is my recent conversation with Mayur, and it would be able to find that kind of emails for me. So for me, there is no such email that I got from Mayur today, right? So this is the how all those categorization can be done, and there are a lot more it can be done. Like for example, the second question that you ask, can it be scheduled? Okay, yes, it can be scheduled. So let's say, for example, I'm at the executive level, I'm very busy, and even I do not have the time, or I do not want to come back every 3 hours and type this command, right? Like, give me the high priority email. What I can do, I can create an agent. Okay, I can just type, I can just let that agent do this thing, that every 3 hours, okay, get me the summary of top 10 emails and send to me, right? Just by doing this, I am done. So whenever, and I can also say that send me this particular summary over my Teams. Okay, so I still do not want to come back to my Outlook. I just need, I'm a very regular user of Teams. I just want every 3 hours you give me the summary of all the high priority emails over Teams. I can do that. So whenever I go back to my Teams, okay, I will see every 3 hours, I will see a summary of my very high priority emails. So all of those things can be done over here. Okay,
Very
it
good.
just needs a bit of practice, a bit of
Mhm.
understanding how the things work. Okay, fine. Yeah. So let's move on from here. Okay, let's go to Teams now. Okay, so let me open my Teams here. Okay, so if you see my Teams, okay, again, my Copilot is being seen over here, and you can see that my calendar is empty here. Okay, but let's go to my chat. Okay, and then you can see that I have these many chats over here. Okay, now I go to my Copilot. Okay, so if you see, my Copilot again would be opening in work and web version. Okay, at the same time, because it is based on my Teams now, it is asking me what all you want to do. Okay, so let's say I again want to come here and I say, okay, is there any conversation with Ketan? Okay, so I do not remember when did I talk to this customer last time, and I want to find out what was my conversation with Ketan all about and when was it, right? So I just ask, was there any conversation? It will go to all my chat history. It will try to find out what was what all my conversations were there with Ketan. Okay, so it says, yeah, okay, there are multiple conversations with Ketan, and what is all about. It will get me the details also over here. So you can see what all conversations I had is giving. Okay, so this is how I can actually find it out. Another thing is, okay, let's go back to chat. Okay, so day before yesterday we had some kind of webinar. Okay, so let's say, for example, I think where is that? Yeah, so this is my webinar. Okay, I couldn't I forgot like what all action items are there from this webinar. I do not know. Okay, so I can just go ahead and I can ask Copilot again. Okay, can you give me the details of any webinar that happened over Gemini? Okay, um, can you summarize the webinar that was done for Gemini? Okay, so it will try to go into my content again. It will try to find out if there was any webinar, there was a recording done, right? It will go to that recording and it will try to find out everything about that webinar and give me the details. You can see the transcripts and the events open, right? So it is trying to put all the things together and it is giving me the summary of that webinar. So without going into that whole recording or the transcript, if I just want a quick understanding of what we covered into that webinar, I can easily get it over here. Okay, I can again ask it to build into a PowerPoint, and all those things can be carried out from here. Not only that, if we are in a meeting, so let's say, for example, let me the meeting here. Okay, so like for example, if I'm in a meeting over here, right, I can just ask over here like how the things can be done. You see the Copilot icon here. Okay, if I click on this Copilot icon here, okay, let's see what it does. Where is that coming up? I think my policies are not allowing me to open that. Let me see that. Okay, turn on. Yeah, I want to turn it on. Okay, I see confirm. So my Copilot, I was able to navigate through that. So I can open the Copilot here. Okay, now I couldn't understand like what is happening. I missed something, right? So till now, whatever meeting has happened, okay, I can just say quickly recap the meeting so far. Okay, okay, or create an agent for this meeting. I can just go agenda, sorry, create an agenda for this meeting. Or once this is done, I can just say highlight from this meeting chat. Okay, so if I select the first option and I say I joined the meeting late, I want to know what has happened till now. In the live meeting only, I can just go ahead and you can ask this question. So whatever has been covered till now, I shall be able to see it over here. Okay, so if you see, it is trying to find out what has happened. So it couldn't find maybe some reason. Okay, so it's again trying to find out. So this is how you can actually find out the details over here. Okay, now let's move on to yeah. So actually, I think we are done covering all of these sessions. So in short, I have explained everything in short. There are a lot of other functionalities that can be done from here. Okay, and a lot of other apps as well. Like I haven't covered SharePoint, I haven't covered OneDrive. So all of those things also can be integrated over here. Now, moving on from here, so let's see, like I was talking about prompt engineering, right? Okay, so in simple words, what prompt engineering is about, okay, like how you talk to your colleague, right? The better I'm able to explain my point or my problem or my requirement to my colleagues or my team members, right, or to my customer. Similarly, consider you're talking to the same person over here. So your co-pilot is nothing but another of your colleague, another of your customer. So the better you rephrase yourself, the better it is able to understand. Okay. So be very specific. So some of the do's and don'ts. Okay. Be very specific. Like you must have seen, I said I need 10 to 15 slides. Okay. I did not give it vague instruction, just create it. Right. So that is how you need to give them the context also. Like I said, okay, fine. I have a webinar, I have a webinar. So I gave it a context. Okay. And like do not give so many, I'm sorry, do not give so many instructions in one prompt. Make it easier for it to understand. So follow a step-by-step approach, line by line. Okay, so I need to conduct a webinar. Give me 10 to 15 slides like that. So it becomes easier. And then sometimes it may still not work. Like you must have seen some of the places when I was trying to show you guys, it still did not work because I may not be very clear or there's some problem that it couldn't understand. So still go ahead and ask again the question. Try to ask it in a different way. It will be able to give you the answer. Okay. Also, just to be on the safer side, try not to include your very sensitive information and all unless you are authorized to do that. Okay. And then also leverage on the templates and the examples. So there are a lot of, I mean, like you must have seen when I go to Copilot, it is giving me the prompting itself, right? So better choose those because they have been built using all of the feedback that we give. So it is always better to use those template in the examples, okay? At least at the starting point when you're very new to it. Now, some of the examples like you have seen, okay? Like I say, summarize a 12-page document into 5 bullet points. I did not say that summarize this is a very vague instruction, right? But rather than saying like, it's better to say that summarize this 12-page document into 5 bullet points, right? Similarly, when it comes to Excel, I did say, okay, it was not a good prompting on my side. I say, show me data inside because I'm very new. I do not know what to ask, right? But it is always better if I can have a little bit visibility on my data and I say, okay, what was my last quarter sales data? So give me top three performing products by region. So that way, if you're going to ask, Copilot is going to behave in a better or a much more productive way for you. Okay. So yeah, so this is all about prompt engineering. Moving on from here, so this is kind of the last part of the webinar. So MK, just a quick check. We are on time, right? I can cover this part.
Yeah. 5 minutes. You can take more.
Sure, thank you. So, what about the Copilot Studio, right? So, like, as I was saying, so the Copilot part, okay, as you have seen, I did not use any of the programming. I did not open any of the designer mode and all. Being just a user, I just use natural language to find out the things. Now, when we talk about Copilot Studio, it actually comes with a different set of licensing. It needs another license, where the users are actually given a designer platform where actually I build my agents as per my requirement, as whatever is there, and then we deploy those agents over different platforms. So, in short, what you can say is for Microsoft Copilot, whatever you are doing, it remains with your login. It remains within your ecosystem. Okay, you won't be able to share that over WhatsApp. I mean, you won't be able to whatever agents you're building, whatever work you are doing, you won't be able to share it with your colleague and all for them to be ready to use kind of thing. But in the Copilot Studio, let's say I make an agent, okay, like what NK was saying, right? I make an agent for my Outlook to send me a summary of all the emails every 3 hours, right? So this is one agent I made. I can't share it with my colleague when I'm using MS 365 Copilot. But the same agent, if I build a Copilot Studio, then I can just deploy it. And all my users in my organization, whomsoever I want to give access to, they would be able to use it. So without having that kind of rework done, those kind of agents can be deployed all over organization. So when you move from a personal basis to an organization basis, then normally we suggest users to start using the Copilot Studio. That is one of the greatest benefit when it comes to Copilot Studio. Okay, so like that's the reason, that the purpose is, for the first one it is for the end users, the second one is for the admins or the power users to be able to do a lot of the things. Okay, target users, I mean, as we know, that end users who are going to use this, over here we are using it at organization level. Customization, not much customization you can do. You can only use the functionalities that Copilot gives you, but here you are actually able to use a lot of customization. Let's say, for example, you have a database, right? You would be able to connect to that database also when you use the Copilot Studio. And then integration, just now like I mentioned, I'm sorry, you should be able to integrate it with your other third party systems as well. So for some examples, it can summarize email, it can draft presentation, or analyze your sales data. Over here it can automate a lot of other things. It can automate your weekly reports, it can build your standardized document from templates, and it can also train AI with your internal data governance. Whatever you have, you can build all those governance factors over there as well. So this is all about the differences between the Copilot and the Copilot Studio. So, okay, I'm done over here with my presentation. We can go ahead with this part.
Okay. Okay. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
questions, let questions keep coming here, but we want to get into an interesting quiz. So let's go get started with the quiz, and winners have some prizes also that are listed here. So let me go and share my screen and
Sure.
get started. If you can stop sharing, Aruna, your screen.
Yes.
Okay. So do you see my screen over here? Does everybody see my screen?
Yes. Yes, okay, I can see
Okay.
it.
Very good. Very good. So to get into Menti, we'll use our tool called as Menti. So with the Menti, you can either scan this QR code from your phone or go to menti.com and enter this code. So you will be able to get in, and then you can see this question and then respond. So I know you got it. So this is just warm up question before we get into um, the quiz. Okay, I see one response, two responses, um, two responses. Anybody else? I see. Uh, very good. Very good. Summarize the meeting, resume building, email responses, generating PPT. So I think you see the almost similar trend here. Um, yeah, similar trend here. Prepare for the day. Um, very good. Very good. Okay, let's get moving on this. So you will have first question coming up here very soon. Very good. So um, all of you who responded right. Let's move to the next question. Um, okay, very good. Sebastian is leading. So this is the second question. Yeah, okay, most of you are right. Let's see how the scorecard looks like. Very good. So let's see, there seems to be some, no, I think it's some change here. Okay. Let's get to the third question. Okay, all of you are correct, but the ranking is done based on who did it fast. Okay, Millie is trying to, Millie, you need to push a little bit more. You have two more questions here. This is an interesting one. Oh, wow. Okay. Everybody said it right. So again, who did it fast? Oh, wow. See, Millie, let's see if you overtake this time. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Ribbit and Ted. This is the last question coming up here. Not a best practice. Okay, most of you are right. So let's see how does this look like. Ooh, close race. Okay, Millie. So Millie, you are the orange. Sebastian, you are the second one. So let's give it back to Aruna. So Aruna, I'll stop sharing. You reshare your presentation to finish up a few things. Millie and Sebastian, please send me an email what price you would like to have. Philip, can you put the email trainings@refineM.com?
Yes, I'm typing in the chat.
Yeah. Okay, so
Sure, Ankit.
continue.
So, yeah.
Yeah, continue from here. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So thanks everyone for answering the quiz questions. Okay. Yeah. So moving on from here, actually, we just have one slide to cover in case if you have anything like what NK was saying. Okay. So this part will be taken care. Apart from that, any other questions? I did answer some of the questions over Teams. But in case if any other questions, then feel free to ask.